that you mentioned, like you should not like there needs to be balance, right? It's not like we need to be 100% democratic or 100% liberal. Like I think us as humans, we all want kind of the same thing at a fundamental basic level. We need food, we need good education, we need security. Like those are very basic fundamental needs that we could all agree on. And so that's something that I also don't understand as an outsider. I see that everything's very radicalized in the US. There's the extreme right and the extreme left. There's like those um, two sides, and you need to pick one. Like it feels like there's a third. There could be a third one in the middle that is a little bit more neutral, a little bit more balanced, but there's not, and I don't understand why. It's a two.
I'll explain it.
One last thing. I actually asked one of my friends, and they were very clear, Bruno. Like, there's nothing to understand. It's a two-partisan system, and that's it. That's what it is. Like, okay, but why? Why can't we have a third one? You know? That yeah. Go ahead.
Well, in 2000, there wasn't the tribalism that exists today. My second book was called Tribalism, The Curse of 21st Century America. I published it in 2019, and it was all about that problem. Basically, the right and left and I haven't got into this at all, but my first three books were about the genetic differences between the right and left. And they do not think alike, and they can't turn into each other. You can't take a liberal and make them into a conservative. They think differently. And so that's why I say the country has to move forward with a consensus where both sides agree on the path we take. Well, the left is very aggressive about change. They want to make change very quickly. They want equality. They love socialism, and they want to move the country in that direction. The conservatives are the opposite. The conservatives are individually oriented. They like capitalism. They like freedom of speech, etc. They resist the tendency on the left to move farther to the left to make change. So one is status quo, one is change. And so all the changes that the left forced on our country culturally because they pushed them, example, same-sex marriage, offended the right. And so the more the left has done to move the country in their direction, the more the right has reacted to and fought back. So you had these two ends of the political spectrum, 10% of the population at each end. Meanwhile, the 80% are in the middle. The 80% are like you and me, and they just want to live their lives, and you have a job and raise a family, whatever. You don't care about that ideology stuff. But the left and right ideology people have control of the media. So you listen to news reports or you follow social media, whatever, all you hear is the radical voices. And if you are weak-minded as a citizen, you think the whole country is radical. So like people on the left tend to say all white people are bigots, all white people are racist. No, they're not. There's a few on the extreme right. Most people look at what's inside of a person and not what's outside to judge whether to have a relationship with them. So you have this battle between the extremes where the ideologies are dominating the media, and that's what all you hear about. So the normal people just go on living their lives and ignore it, but you can't ignore it if it makes the country not function. We have to figure out a way to meet in the middle, and I think that will gradually happen because the public is not going to stand for this partisanship.
That's beautifully said. And yeah, and I just want to point out some things like extremism, all of those incredibly how to say, let's put it, extreme ideologies, like those generate clicks. That's what people click on, and of course they're just gonna promote more of this, and then there's this snowball effect, like this never-ending cycle. Like people just consume more, and then they have this distorted reality of the country.
You're making an excellent point. The danger and the tragedy of social media is that the platforms make money based on controversy,
Yeah.
like you said.
Yeah.
So the more controversial you are, the more clicks you might get, and the better you look. You get into the algorithm. I always tell the story: if you were a radical and you wanted to propose, blowing up the world or whatever you wanted to say, and you wanted to speak publicly about it, and 25 years ago, you had to get on a soapbox in a park and give a speech. And the only people that heard it were the people that walked by and heard it and thought, well, that guy's crazy. And then they kept walking. Now, the perpetrators of these radical views are not identified. They're just a name on a website or a tweet. No one who knows who they are. And they have their tweets go around the world. Everybody in the world can see their radical ideas, and they tend to attract other radical people, which isn't good. And they tend to get clicks because they're controversial. Just like you said.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing.
It's a loud minority. Michael, I kind of ask a lot about US politics, but I remember just before we went live, you asked me, could we please separate a moment to talk a little bit about German politics? I'm going to be honest, I'm the wrong guy to ask about German politics. I don't know much about it, but I would gladly try to. So, yeah.
I'm going to make it simple on you, and I'm going to make you an expert in the way I'm going to ask you the question.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
How do you feel about